And out to Borno State, where stakeholders are calling government to enhance its policy regarding inclusion of people living with disabilities. They spoke during the Disabilities Inclusion and Innovation Working Group in Maiduguri. TVC's Jesse Tafida reports.
Nigeria's National Population Commission has estimated that about 19 million Nigerians live with disabilities. Research reveals that people living with disability are more likely to experience extreme poverty in Nigeria due to lack of inclusion. Going further, the Northeast has been identified as having the highest number of disabled individuals, with the insurgency as a multiplying factor. But a coalition of non-governmental organizations wants to change this narrative. In this whole are people living with disabilities alongside government and non-governmental organizations. It's the kickoff of the Disability Inclusion and Innovation Program.
Initiative now we are doing is to review all the rehabilitation centers and the blind workshops where those people were engaged in training so that we can provide the necessary support to them.
Setting up this initiative is fantastic. It's a great opportunity. It's a space where people can raise concerns and then also look forward to how to move things forward.
The main aim of this initiative is to enhance effective inclusion of people living with disabilities in government policy formulation. Participants say this initiative is timely.
We are about 22 and more partners that are now highly committed in order to ensure there is an inclusion of people with disability in programming and the implementation of any project.
This initiative launched today will foster the awareness and understanding of the policies put in place to assist the disabled in the Northeast region. Jesse Tafida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
Let's talk security now. 21 mourners have been killed by tricycle stocked with improvised explosive device planted by Boko Haram terrorists in Yobe State. It was gathered that a bomb explosion occurred in Gonimitiri village near Gumsa town in Gaidam local government area of the state when mourners were attending a funeral of 17 persons who were also killed by the insurgents on Monday after they refused to pay their taxes. The unfortunate incident has left the affected village and neighboring communities in a sober mood. Residents in the affected community are calling on the federal government to do the needful to completely wipe out the fighters whom on several occasions have been terrorizing their communities without help. The Federal Road Safety Corps says it will further reduce by 5% road crashes, fatalities and injuries in the Ember months. Its Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, disclosed this during the decoration ceremony of Deputy Corps Marshals in Abuja. And Helen Osamede reports.
The months of September to December usually referred to as Ember months in Nigeria due to an increase in the intercity and the rush within cities. Road crashes, fatalities and injuries are usually high during this period. The start of another Ember month has prompted the Federal Safety Corps to say it has put more measures in place to reduce crashes, fatalities and injuries on the roads in this season.
We have deployed more vehicles, we have opened more commands, and then much more equipment are out there, including the body camera and other things. So I believe this year it is going to be a successful operation, much more than last year, because our aim is to reduce it year in, year out.
There's no how I can see.
Bese Kasim was an assistant Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps. He has now been promoted to higher responsibilities. He pledges to give his all to uphold the mandate of the Corps.
I will dedicate myself in whatever position I find myself, because definitely a Deputy Corps Marshal will expect redeployment to another office. Whatever office I find myself, I want to say that I work towards the mission and vision of FRS.
The Federal Road Safety Corps assures Nigerians that the roads will be safer this season and its officers will respond swiftly in the event of crashes. Helen Osamede Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
Now to labor matters. Members of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers branch of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers have elected new leaders in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, to lead the affairs of the union for the next 4 years. Senior correspondent Sharon Ijaso has details in this report.
It's the Special Delegate Conference of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers Branch of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, in Ibadan, Oyo State, southwest Nigeria. According to the leaders of the union, the conference was expedient for election of new leadership for the PTD. After accreditation of delegates, members took turns to vote for leaders of their choice.
This position that is given out today, it is what Mr. Akilaja will call step by step, turn by turn. You may not be the one today. It may be your turn tomorrow by God's grace.
After a rigorous exercise that lasted more than 12 hours, Augustine Egbon emerged winner of the election and was declared the new national chairman of Petroleum Tanker Drivers Branch of NUPENG. Egbon and other elected leaders were sworn into office by the electoral committee.
I've been in the union for past 30 years. I have the experience. I have the leadership quality. I've held so many positions in the union before I became a national chairman. I served all the whole capacity, so I know what my member needs. So I will take good care of them.
At the University of Ibadan Conference Center, where the event took place, the national president of NUPENG, Williams Apurea, reassured members of improved representation and welfare.
What you saw here was a structure, a legitimate structure of PTD that selected their own leadership. And obviously, they have expectations. And the expectations are probably protection and more welfare, for their well-being. The newly executive took that commitment before them, as you can see. And I'm sure even at national level, we'll continue to hold them accountable.
Other officers filled at the election are the National Deputy Chairman 1 and 2, National Secretary, National Treasurer, National Trustee, among others. Sharon Jackson, TVC News.
The Lagos State Fire Service says it has received not less than 1,327 emergency calls and recorded loss of property valued at 1.62 billion naira to fire incidents between January the 1st to October the 29th this year. The director of the agency, Margaret Fadishe, announced this at the flag-off of the 2023 fire evacuation drill held in the state. Abimbola Agbebi has the details.
At this media briefing in Lagos, the Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations, Mr. Olubenga Oyerinde, says there is need to reduce persistent fire outbreaks in the state, especially as the Harmattan season draws near. Tagged Mitigating Fire Risk Through Fire Prevention, a simulation exercise for the 2023 fire evacuation drill kicked off with public servants. They are to serve as ambassadors of the initiative just before the sensitization is taken to public places. While the agency makes efforts to correct the impression that it is more reactive than being proactive, it also explained that most of the fire outbreaks recorded in the state were due to negligence.
You will look at January this year, we have 204 fire incidents. On February, we have 193. On March, we have till April. That is to say, from October to March or April is the fire peak period. This is the Harmattan period. That is when we experience highest numbers of fire due to the changes in weather.
It was also a good time to talk about the attacks on firefighters in the state.
The instances I want to speak to is the instances that happened in the last couple of weeks at Idimo, Egbe, where our firemen are carrying out their statutory responsibility in fighting fire, and a tout ordered them to carry their machineries out of the way And in our attempts to explain to him, he picked up the helmet on one of the firemen and hit it on his head. The hands of law is taken to, as we speak now, at a due course, we'll bring it to public space for people to know.
Residents are asked to be more cautious, observant and swift to report any case of emergency to the appropriate quarters.